Hello everyone, you're tuned in to Cultural Cooking with Tisha. So what we have done previously, we peeled the sweet potatoes and we cut them in half and then we diced them into chunks. These are about 3 to 4 inch chunks. We put them in a mixing bowl and we seasoned them with onion powder, garlic powder, sea salt, a little bit of olive oil, and then we use 1/3 cups of brown sugar. We mix it all in a bowl, and what I'm going to do now is just mix it a little bit more, and we're going to put it in the oven. You're going to put the sweet potatoes in the oven for about an hour to an hour and a half at 375. Okay, so just to give you a little background on what we're seasoning everything with, everything was picked fresh from a garden. We have fresh garlic, we have fresh rosemary, we have purple basil and regular flat leaf basil, and then here's our fresh rosemary, and we have put that in a cup. We also have garlic chives. So this is chives that we picked fresh from the farm, and it has a garlic flavor to it. Here's the garlic that has been minced up. We're going to be using about 2 garlic cloves. So now that we have put the sweet potatoes in the oven and they have been in there for about 45 minutes, now we're going to start on the herb crusted chicken breast. So inside of here I have the 8 chicken breasts. I have seasoned them with garlic powder, onion powder, sea salt, smoked paprika, the fresh garlic, the fresh purple and green basil, and then the garlic chives. I put them in a Ziploc bag so it was easy. So this is an easy cleanup if you put it in a Ziploc bag, and it mixes really well. I also added about 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil. And just so you know, of each seasoning, I used a 1/2 teaspoon of the smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of the sea salt, 1 teaspoon of the garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of the onion powder. And then I would say that we have used about 2 tablespoons of each of the fresh herbs. Now, if you want to have this super flavorful and you don't want to actually do it the same day, you can actually marinate this overnight, and that way it'll be more flavorful, and then it'll be easy to just pop in a skillet. So we have a non-stick skillet. We're going to coat it with a little bit of olive oil. Another thing is you don't want to overcrowd the skillet, so we're only going to do a couple at a time. So this is the first one, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to saute these in this skillet for about 5 to 6 minutes on each side until they're fully cooked and done. And to ensure that they're done, if you want to check, you can always pull one out and open it up in the middle. Also, when you touch the middle of meat, the harder it is in the middle, that means the tougher it is, so that means it's done. Now, while I have my chicken breast on, I'm going to start the kale. So I'm going to again grab the extra virgin olive oil. And I love to do kale, fresh kale instead of green. Sometimes I do spinach. Sometimes I even do a kale and spinach mixed together, and I'll add like some mushrooms and some sweet onions to it as well. So we're going to put 2 teaspoons of the olive oil in the skillet. We have a medium-sized sweet diced onion. And we're going to cook the onion first so we can get a nice texture to it and so it's not hard. So now that I have the sweet onion in the skillet, I'm actually going to season the onion. So now we're going to flip our chicken breast. And that has pretty color on it. Once the onion is tender, then we'll add our kale to it and then we'll cover it. We'll saute the kale for about 10 to 15 minutes or until tender. Now the great thing about cooking any green is, yeah, it may look like the pot is full right now, but once it cooks down some, it'll make more room and we can add the rest of it to it. Also, when picking your kale, if you're picking it fresh from the farm, or like we did with this, or you're getting it from a fresh garden or something like that, you want to make sure that you rinse it really well so you don't have any dirt or residue in it before you cook it. And what I'm doing right now is just mixing the kale with the sweet onion, so we have everything mixed evenly, and the seasoning that we put on the onion is on the kale as well. And now that the kale has cooked down some, we'll add the remaining kale to the pot. And we'll add just a little bit more seasoning. So we'll add a pinch of sea salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and we'll mix it all together. And like I mentioned, you can do this what we're doing right now, sauteing this kale with almost any green. If you don't like kale, you can always do spinach, turnip green, collard green, whatever you prefer. So we're going to take it out of the skillet. Now we're just going to put the cooked chicken breast in here, because you never want to mix raw and cooked meat together. Got a piece of kale in there. So then we're going to add a little bit more of the extra virgin olive oil just to coat the skillet. And then we'll add the remaining chicken breast. And I'm just going to take a quick peek at the yams just to make sure they're cooking right. And it looks like they're cooking perfectly. So the kale has cooked down, the onions are nice and they have pretty color on them, and everything is nice and tender. So it looks like the kale is all done and it's ready to be plated. So what we're going to do is we're just going to push it to the back, put this on top so it'll stay warm while we finish up the chicken breast. So they have a nice caramelized look to them. And we're just going to put them on the serving dish. Then we're going to plate the chicken. And look at the herbs on the chicken. They have a nice color to them. to finish things off, we're just gonna garnish the chicken with a little bit of the garlic chives that we got from the garden. And we're gonna put a little bit on the sweet potatoes as well. And there you have it. We have the sauteed kale with the sweet onion and garlic, the herb crusted chicken breast, and the roasted sweet potatoes.